No hipsters.
No hipsters.
No hipsters pod.
Hey, Tronce, the founder of NoHipstersAllowed.com and the host of No Hipsters Pod. Now, I know you're only used to hearing my voice, but on this episode, you also get to see my face. On episode 23, we interview singer-songwriter Seyi Shay. Seyi Shay, thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I see you're on the move, so I understand that you're busy. So thank you so much.
I'm in transit right now, but yeah, no, I just had to make this happen because been wanting to have this interview. So
thank you. All right, so let's start with the origins of your career. So I was doing a little research and I found out that you started as a songwriter, and in my opinion, that's kind of a more difficult talent to sell than singing. And so tell me a little bit about how you started writing songs for other people.
To be honest, I was actually, I was a singer. I was a songwriter in the sense that I was writing songs for myself. But the first song that I ever really wrote was for myself, and I wrote it with a producer called Harmony Samuels. Now, Harmony Samuels is a really well-established producer who lives in LA, who's done some great material and great works for people like Chris Brown, Ariana Grande. He actually found her, signed her first, did her first album before he signed her off to the major label she's with now. But I grew up with Harmony in the UK. He's a Nigerian too, but we're both first generation British. So we spent a lot of our childhood and our teenage years kind of making music. He was the producer. I was writing the songs for hopes that one day I would sing the songs and blow up. But then a young lady named Mila J, I don't know if you remember Mila J. This is Jane Aiko's sister. So she heard that song, or one of the songs that myself and Harmony had produced, and somehow we ended up giving the song to her. So that was like my first real cut. My second real cut was a song on Mel C's album. Mel C was one of the Spice Girls, and that happened because, again, she heard one of my songs through the producer I was working with at the time. I was once signed to Sir George Martin, who was the Beatles producer. And so obviously that was,
I don't believe that's in your Wikipedia. That is a fun fact.
Yeah, and that's a fun fact. So I was signed to him through way of No Apologies, who was the team that I used to work with, and somehow Mel C heard White Lies. White Lies was with Kalina and Diddy and Dirty Money. But anyway, so it's normally a song that I've written for myself, and then somehow
that was with Diddy. Right, my bad.
So normally there's songs that I've written for myself, and somehow people get to hear them and they're like, oh, I want that. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can write more. So then I end up giving it or selling it to them. So, and then I just became a songwriter somehow that way. And I mean, at the end of the day, it paid off. I've got a publishing deal now, which is pretty cool. And, I enjoy writing, but writing for people was accidental.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense. And so what does your process entail? Like, do you come up with the melodies first, or do you have the lyrics, or, how does that go?
Most of the time, I walk into the studio and the producer's already working on a track. Then I hear the music, and then depending on how the music makes me feel, I might start freestyling some melodies to it.
Okay.
I think I'm a better melody person than I am a lyricist. So I collaborate on the lyrics a lot with the producer or a particular songwriter that I work with called Majid.
Okay. Nice. And random question, do you actually play any instruments? I'm always curious as to, if a songwriter plays an instrument, because people think you have to play an instrument to write songs, and you don't necessarily have to.
No, you don't.
Right.
The first instrument I actually played, aside from my voice, was the violin. So I started playing the violin at school, and then I played out of school, like after school, and then I had the opportunity to play at the Royal Orchestra in London, the Royal Albert Hall. It was just like the junior Royal Orchestra. It wasn't like the major Royal Orchestra that you all know.
Still a big deal.
And love, but still a big deal. I played at the Royal Albert Hall, and that was like such an amazing thing for me to have done.
Right.
At the time, being a young Black girl coming from London.
Right.
Playing the violin at the Royal Albert Hall, incredible.
Fantastic, fantastic. So who are your musical influences? Like who shaped, Seyi Shay?
Who shaped Shay Shay or my sound? So I'm very versatile when it comes to the songs that I record and even
Truly.
release. I do Afrobeat, then Afrobeat, and then I do R&B, soul, pop. It's just really, I feel like the common denominator in all my sounds and all the music I put out is me,
Okay.
and my voice
Right.
and the way I deliver the songs on the genres of music that I do. But who shaped me? I think that is now reflected in the vast amount of artists that I grew up listening to that I love, like Brandy and Beyonce,
Mm,
all the way to like even Karen Clark and the Clark sisters,
absolutely.
and Nina Simone, and Michael Jackson, Joe, Lauryn Hill, um, R. Kelly, even.
Right.
So like I'm TLC.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
those are
All,
really
all of the
like
best.
my right. So those are really who I spent time listening to the most. I know. I mean, I know everybody says, a lot of people say this, but Kim Burrell was the most listened to gospel artist of mine growing up,
Okay.
more than Karen Clark even, and I love Karen Clark, but
Right.
those are who I grew up listening to. So it's like very, very vast. And then you want to talk about the other side of me, which was a bit more kind of like where I probably wrote that fitting song that Mel C picked, which is quite like rock and soft rock. I listened to Skunk and Nancy, Pink Floyd, um, Sting, like people like that. So it's really vast,
Right.
just vast across the
I,
board.
I see. I see.
And I
It's funny.
really
So
studied these people's music.
right. So actually, what jumps out at me is Karen Clark, because a lot of like the best vocalists in the world actually cite her as an influence, and so I think
Oh,
that's
really?
interesting. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so I think it's interesting that you mentioned her. But I was actually waiting to hear your dance hall and reggae influences, because my favorite song of yours is the is Murder with Pat Ranking. That's your best, in my opinion. And so I was
I
actually
think thank you so much. I think that reggae or influence comes from 100% Bob Marley.
okay.
But then also, I grew up in London. So
Right.
London has a very strong reggae culture.
Mm,
So like everywhere you go, everything you see, especially Tottenham in North London on Seven
right.
Sisters Road, where I grew up, everything was Jamaican. Everything was
Mm, of
Jamaican and Ghanaian and Nigerian, and the
course.
music was reggae. And that's it wasn't even Afrobeat. The only time I used to hear African music was in my house when my mom used to play Sunny Ade or
Of
Shino
course.
Peters or
Of
yeah.
course.
But when I go out into the street and I'm with my friends, or we're just like coming from the Jamaican shop buying patties,
Right.
or when we're just playing outside or just talking and vibing, it's Jamaican music, and
Gotcha.
normally Bob Marley.
Right, right, right. And so, okay, who is your dream artist to collaborate with, dead or alive?
Um, Hopefully, well, I mean, I'm not gonna say no. I'm not gonna say anyone dead now, because like that's just yeah. I'm not
Right.
gonna. But alive, maybe Adele.
Oh, okay. And she's from Tottenham as well.
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
I knew. I used to see her on the 41 bus going to school. Her school was very close to mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't know that. Yeah.
I remember seeing her. Yeah, but I didn't know she would. I mean, we weren't close or anything, but I remember her
Right.
for sure. And some people, and a friend of mine a few years ago was like, "You remember Adele, that girl that used to always, get on the 41 bus?" And I won't tell you the rest, but
We'll say that for the next interview. What kind of songs would you and Adele make? That's really interesting. I can see it. It
yeah, it
sounds
would.
like
Because
kind of
you see, why I chose Adele is because I don't even know what kind of music we would make, but it would be really interesting, and it would be something that nobody expects.
right.
But it would be very, it would be beat driven, but melodically and lyrically, it would be very emotional,
Okay.
and have a lot of depth. But I think it would be a really nice marriage, just because I'm coming from the African or the Afro Jamaican, Afro Caribbean vibe. She's coming with the pure English you know, but still
Blue Eyed
soul
Soul, yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
So, you
Okay.
know, and then we're both from Tottenham,
Right.
so and we're both females, so we'll be crossing a bridge right there, you
Right,
know, we'll
right,
be
right, right.
joining bridge, making bridges there
Right.
too. So
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so at this point, we are a few years into the Afrobeats movement that's kind of changing the landscape of popular music in, you know, the States, but really across the world. And with, you know, Wizkid and Davido and Burna Boy sort of being the vanguard of that movement. But something that's kind of struck me as odd is that we're yet to see a female artist crossover in the same way, despite there being a wealth of talent. And so my question to you is, why do you think that is?
I'm not sure, sadly. I don't know. I know that I mean, my first record that crossed over and got into the UK charts on Radio 1 was Murder, the song that you said is my best song. And that was 6-7 years ago, before Afrobeat
Was a
kind of
thing.
blew up the way it is now.
Yeah.
So I would say that we are doing our thing and people are hearing us and I think they know us, but the guys are doing something different maybe, or maybe not. Maybe like it's about the teams as well. Maybe the females don't have the teams that the guys do, or maybe it's just not our time yet, or maybe it is our time and that's why you're talking to me, because it's my time. Maybe.
Of course. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so, honestly.
We don't know, but
I mean,
I just know that we're there, we're coming.
Yeah, I hope so, because it's really kind of, at this point I would have expected at least one person to kind of take over in the same way, but you know, it just feels like we're still waiting. So hopefully you too, very soon. We hope. So, all right. So next question. Your current single is Twale, which is I guess for, you know, anyone who's watching doesn't understand, Twale essentially is slang for salutations in, you know, Nigerian lingo, and it's kind of an ode to the working man and working woman. And so, why did you choose to make that song? And also, you know, collaboration-wise, why did you choose to work with YC, Zlatan, and Small Doctor?
You're good. Do you know who these guys are?
Of course. You do know I'm Nigerian, right? I'm not that.
You're Nigerian?
Indeed.
No way.
Yeah.
Where are you from in Nigeria?
Okay, so I mean,
Yoruba.
I'm Edo.
Edo. You look like an Edo boy, actually. All Edo boys are very fine. So yeah. Nice one. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you basically said it. Like a shout out, it's an ode to the everyday working man.
Right.
You know, I felt like people needed to hear something positive during this whole lockdown COVID-19 pandemic, and I felt like in Nigeria there wasn't really that much support or much help or much acknowledgement even for the everyday working class man, and even those that are like not even working class, the poor and people that are offering people like you and I essential services, right? I don't think that there was a campaign for them to say thank you like there was in America or in the UK. Like there's no NHS to say, hey, thank you guys for supporting us. Yet we had people still busting their ass to make sure that we were, you know, still kind of living and getting the essential things that we need. And I felt like that song was fitting. Twali, shout out to you. When you're in Nigeria and you could be driving your car and you'll see a homeless guy or a vulcanizer guy or somebody selling water on their head in the traffic saying, Twale mama, Twale baba, Twale, Twale. They're still shouting you out. So I thought, what? Let's shout them. Especially them. But not just them, but my fans that have been holding me down for so many years. And to those that are holding families down, you know, even through this COVID pandemic. So that's why I did the song. And I featured those guys because those guys are from the street. They're from the hood. And who better to relate to the streets than them?
Gotcha. You know, I think the song is so timely. So, you know, thank you so much for doing that. I think that's what the people need right now. So one thing that struck me is that much of your catalog is made up of non-album singles. And I was wondering if that was by design. Like, do you just want to okay.
I think that My first album was in, and I did that purely independently. And I feel like because it was purely independently, it didn't go the way it should have. However, the more singles that I put out, collaborations that I do, more people are kind of going back to the Seyi or Shay album and
Okay.
referencing it, and then discovering Seyi Shay new. So it's cool. So I feel like that 2015 album, there's a lot more people still need to hear it, and there's a lot more music that I need to do. I have finished an album now, and I've finished an EP.
Okay.
So now it's about like rollout plan and release date, but that's all kind of happening behind the scenes with my company and my team. So coming soon.
Okay.
Album.
All
for
right.
now, enjoy the singles.
Of course. So actually, we'll be on the lookout for that. But really, I want to say that it's impressive that you were able to assemble such an.
I have playlists on Apple Music, Seyi Shay Essentials.
Okay.
You know, make a playlist out of all my singles, and then you have an album.
Okay. And there you go. So I was going to say that it's impressive that for an independent project, you're able to assemble such an all-star roster of singers. You have Wizkid, I believe. You also have Pat Ranking. We also have Femi Kuti, all in the same album. So really, really impressive. I think that shows, that says something about your clout in the industry. So, fantastic.
Very much. I wish I had gotten to shoot more videos from that album, but like I said, I was independent then, and it wasn't as easy as, I've learned so much about the music industry, the business of the industry, and it's not easy, but the most important thing is don't give up and keep pushing.
Absolutely. All right, so very recently, actually, I watched Lara on the Beat, which is your acting debut. I saw it on Netflix, and I thought it was actually pretty good. And the storyline is for anyone who's actually lived in Nigeria, would actually relate to many parts of that story. And so I was wondering how you got involved in that project, and if acting was always part of the plan.
Acting was part of the plan, but I always knew that I could do it if I wanted to, because I'm quite a drama queen. Like, all my friends would be like, "Oh, you're such a drama queen, you should go into acting." Right. And then I caught myself like being a drama queen, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But that's not how it happened. A lady named Biola Alabi, she owns a production company, approached me to play Lara. They had Lara as a character already for some years, a couple of years or so, while they were developing the movie and the story. And I was casted because they liked the way the character or the way I acted in my music videos. And because Lara is obviously supposed to be a singer, she is a singer. Lara is, in pursuit of fame and pursuit of, success in the music industry. For them, it had to be a musician. So I landed the part, and the rest is history.
One of the questions I have, I always wonder why, is that clearly you're born and raised in London. You started your songwriting for British artists. You're definitely kind of building something there. And so what inspired the relocation back to Nigeria to kind of try to build the singing career there? Well,
after my best friend, producer I was telling you about, left UK to go to America, I joined a girl band called From Above, and we were managed by Matthew Knowles, who's Beyonce's dad, for 3 years. So he developed us for 3 years, he moved us to Houston, to the house of to World Music, the House of Darion. We lived there, and he developed us on our music, singing, writing, recording, dancing. Like, we were trained literally by Danielle Pilanco, who is Beyonce's dancer and choreographer, Frank Gatson, who is like the godfather of contemporary dance. And we had the best of the best of the best literally train us, develop us, work with us for 3 years. We started our own reality show called Breaking From Above that MTV produced. And then we went on tour with Beyonce. We supported her I Am tour. As 5 girls from the UK, of course, it was a magical experience, but we didn't make it. Like, we broke up shortly after the tour. after supporting Beyonce, and then I was lost. So I decided to move to Nigeria because I didn't think that the UK had anything for me anymore. And I didn't think the UK was going to give me what I really needed as a solo artist. I didn't have like trying to be a singer, a successful singer in America. Well, there's like a million of me that look like me and sound like me out there. Same for UK. And when it didn't work From Above, I didn't feel like it would work for just me individually. So I felt like I had to go home to where, you know, where I would be appreciated more. And clearly that plan worked.
Clearly. Okay, so what is one thing people don't know about Seyi Shay?
To be honest, I think everybody knows everything now, but that I started playing the violin at age 9.
Okay. All right. And that's actually, I had no idea. And so, okay, final question. We are now in the final quarter of 2020. I'm about to get into next year. So what do you have in store for the rest of the year and also for 2021?
To be honest, very soon is going to be a whirlwind of projects coming out for me. I'm reading another script for another movie next year. My EP is ready now, but whether we're going to do a 2020 release Q4 or a Q1, I couldn't tell you yet because Corona has literally mashed up everybody's plans.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
There's a big girl EP coming. Big girl, aka Seyi Shay.
Of course.
If you haven't seen Lara and the Beat, please check it out on Netflix. Anywhere you are in the world right now.
Absolutely. Seyi Shay, thank you so much for doing this. You know.
Your sound has gone now. I'm reading your lips. I think you said Seyi Shay.
Oh man.
Thank you so much.
Can you still hear me? Can you hear me now?
I'm not sure what you said.
Can you hear me now?
Can't hear you.
Damn it. We were doing so. We were winning, and now look.
Can't hear you, but it's been great talking to you.
Of course.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
I'll do some grocery shopping now.
Okay.
You have a great smile. High five.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. I can't hear you, but
all right.
Peace and love. Bye.
Bye.